Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to make grime like DJ Murlo. This project will be made available for free below the video, and I also have Serum presets, samples and other project files available in the description. If you like this tutorial, drop a like and don't forget to subscribe. I'll also include the Serum presets for this project in the download, as I know some of you aren't Ableton users. Also, if you have any suggestions for artists you'd like me to cover, please comment below, or even better, join my Discord, which is in the description. This project is based primarily on Murlo's tracks Intermist and Tired of You. There are a few videos of Murlo producing that I found, so I'll link these in the description in case you want to see how he produces as opposed to my interpretation. Our BPM is 134, which is a very Murlo tempo, and our key is A minor. We have a 16-bar loop with two distinct 8-bar sections where the rhythms and melodies change. So it's A and B. Murlo's approach tends to be more 16-bar based, but I wanted to showcase different A and B sections as it helps to illuminate some of Murlo's techniques. However, in Murlo's case, the A section would probably be 16 bars, and then the B section would also potentially be 16 bars. I'm going to go through the instruments and samples and the first 8 bars, and then I'll cover the second 8 bars. So here is the first 8 bars. So first we'll have a look at the kick. It's 808 inspired, but with a short release and a clicky attack. It's quite dull, and Murlo's kicks don't tend to stand out in the mix, which is what I was trying to emulate here. The kick is playing an A, which you can see on the EQ here, and this EQ A is also cutting out low rumble and removing some muddy mid frequencies. For the first 8 bars, we have this dotted 8th note pattern with 2 kicks at the beginning of every bar. For the clap, we have these 808 inspired claps. We have some very heavy saturation, which helps the sample feel more upfront. Maybe I'll just turn this down a tiny bit. We have a drum bus for more drive, but I've also used the dampening to low pass the highs added by the saturation. And then we have some EQ to remove any frequencies that might interfere with the kick or the bass. You can see if we look at send A, the clap has been sent to a reverb, which is this empty club preset, which I'm using again. And Murlo seems to favor shorter reverbs within his tracks. For the MIDI, we have this grimy pattern. I'll draw your attention to the 2-step groove in the groove pool. I'm getting a bit sick of using this in every video, but it makes sense as Murlo draws influence from garage and bassline. This groove is applied to the clap, shaker, and hi-hats, bringing them to life by moving the MIDI notes off the grid and modifying their velocities. The shaker I've altered the sound's ADSR using Simpler. I've also pitched it up by a few semitones, so it's a bit brighter. We have drum bus with the soft drive and dampening, and an EQ8 again to remove low frequencies that we don't want. And we have panned the shaker slightly to the left, and we have reverb on send A again. For the MIDI, we have a grimy pattern with an emphasis on 16th notes. Next, we have the hat. Again, we've altered the ADSR envelope. We have almost identical processing to the shaker, but slightly more drive is used in drum bus. We have the hat panned to the right. Reverb is also applied via send A. If we reveal the MIDI, we can see the hat is playing on the first and third beats. I'll just solo all the drums together so you can hear what they sound like. Now we come to the bass. This is essentially the patch from my Grime Garage Wad bass video, which I will link on the screen. I heard a very similar bass in Murlo's track, Tired of You. Murlo isn't afraid to use multiple basses in a single track, and this is something I would have done had I made a full-length production. As I always do with these basses, we have an instrument rack with 2 or 3 layers split using EQ3. I'll link another video describing this technique in more depth if you're unfamiliar with it, but I use it in pretty much all of my tutorials. So we have a pure sine wave sub for the very low frequencies. If I open Serum, you can see that I've taken it down 2 octaves. So we just have a bit of compression, and then we've used EQ3 to split the frequency bands. For the top, we have a patch which is monophonic, square wave based, unisons, and we've taken it down 2 octaves. I've tweaked the ADSR envelope so the bass is more of a pluck. And don't forget that the sub has the same amp envelope as well. We have a low pass filter with highish resonance, and I've added some drive. The cutoff is being modulated by LFO1. Just play it with the sub as well. We look at the matrix. You can see that I'm modulating the master tuning slightly using LFO2. Just make sure this arrow is pointing to the right when you're doing this. Modulating the master tuning or pitch at the beginning of this sound gives the patch more attack, and this is how kick drums are made as well. Both LFOs here have been set to envelope mode, so they only trigger once per MIDI note. The post-processing on the top, first we have this mid layer with some overdrive applied, just to help emphasize the frequencies around 300 Hertz. Some monoing to make sure the patch is more mono compatible. And then we have our EQ3 for the mid band. And then on the high bands, we just have the EQ3. After the instrument rack, we have an EQ8 cutting out any rumble. And then this sidechain rack, which enables the low frequencies to be sidechained by the kick, something I've covered in lots of my other videos. Finally, we have some reverb on send A. For the MIDI pattern, the bass follows the kick pattern, but I've changed the note it's playing every bar. I'll just play both together. We can hear the effects of the sub sidechain rack as well. Often, Murlo doesn't use the root note of whichever scale he's in for the first note of a bass line within a track's main drop. So this is something I've tried to emulate here. So I'm using E and not A. Murlo's music has lots of ambience and subtlety, but usually his drops are stripped back, meaning that he doesn't utilize too many effects in these sections. The only sample or instrument-based effect I have is this reverse noise. I'll let you hear it in the mix. I have some EQ to remove low frequencies, and then a filter, which helps the sound feel a bit more distant. So you can hear there if I turned it off, the reverse is a bit too upfront. Finally, we have some reverb on send A. For the main leads, we have two oscillators within Serum. Oscillator A is this bell-like wavetable. And then oscillator B is just an ordinary square wave. Both oscillators have had their unison increased to 7, and I've turned down oscillator B's level so that oscillator A is more prominent. We have an amp envelope, which is kind of pluck shape, but with a slowish attack. We have some glide, but this patch isn't monophonic because when it was monophonic, it produced some quite odd results. We have a low pass filter, which is being modulated by LFO4 with some drive and a bit of resonance. If we go to the matrix, we can see we have master tuning modulation applied via LFO3. All of these LFOs, as a note, are on envelope mode. I modulated the master tuning on the bass earlier, and this technique is used by Murlo in his Beat This video, which I will link on the screen and in the description. On the channel, we have saturation for some character, quite subtle, some EQ8 to cut out low frequencies, and bass monoing up to 500 Hertz just to try and ensure that at least the lower part of the sound is as mono compatible as possible. Murlo seems to favor heavy amounts of short reverb as opposed to longer reverbs or delays. So I've set a lot of this main lead to send A. In terms of the Midi, we have this descending and ascending pattern, which is a characteristic of Murlo's melodies, particularly in tracks like Intimist and Tired of You. The melody is very staccato, and I've used 16th note quantization to keep the pattern tight. If I legato these notes, you can hear we get a different feel. We'll just listen in the mix as well. We have this complementary leads. And this is very similar to my Grime flute lead tutorial, which I will link on the screen. If we have a look in Serum, we can see it's square wave based. Unison's at 7. We have quite a lot of resonance and drive on the filter. As with the other patch, we're not monophonic, but we do have some glide applied. Again, the filter cutoff is being modulated by LFO4. The signal chain on the channel is identical to the previous patch, with a similarly high amount of reverb applied on send A. It's nice to hear this one with the main lead as they complement each other. The lead plays little runs at the end of every second bar and is an octave above the main lead. Finally, we have these strings, which are from a Kontakt library. I tried to find the most artificial sounding strings I could, since these can be best for making grime. The processing is very similar to the previous two channels. However, this time I've tamed the high end using EQ8, similarly to what I did with the reverse, to make the strings sound more backgrounded. Again, we have reverb via send A. The Midi is straightforward, playing the first and second degrees of the scale every 2 bars. Now let's listen to the A and B sections, and I'll talk about the B section. So for the B section drums, you can hear we have a more garage or bassline influence pattern with a more 4 on the floor style kick rhythm. This isn't something Murlo is averse to, and he uses 4/4 drum patterns in tracks such as End of the World and Vertigo. For the bass, we have a more legato pattern. We also have an ascending and descending thing going on, and the pattern starts on the root note of A this time. I adapted this melody from the main melody in the A section. Using parts of an existing melody in a new melody is something Murlo does a lot, sometimes truncating melodies too. We have more kind of ascending and descending notes going on as well. We also have a variation on the final bar, which is something I picked up from Murlo's tracks when researching for this video as well. For the very last bar of the B section, we return to the melody from the A section with both the main lead and the complementary one. And this is the type of thing that Murlo does in Intermist. Finally, the strings actually follow the bass line, but they play different notes for the most part. And that brings us to the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and it makes a nice departure from the deep dubstep how-tos I've done recently, although I'm sure I'll come back to that style at some point. Please do subscribe if you've gotten this far, and I'll see you in the next one.